Hi guys, welcome to the channel, welcome to another test ride. This time I am riding Aprilia Pegaso 650 Cube. So this is a legendary Aprilia from the end of the 90s, and I remember this motorcycle from my childhood, and it was in all motorcycles magazines, and it was really popular that time. And now guys, now it is almost a vintage bike. So we are in 2023, and this is gonna soon be a vintage motorcycle. I have to say that even then the line was very attractive. So a bit of history from Aprilia. Pegaso was introduced early in the 90s. It was in the 1993, and that time it was a 600cc motorcycle. This one, it's from 1998. This model started in 1997, but this is the 1998 model with the 650 single-cylinder engine. So it was really not a cheap bike that time, considering the fact that it has the Marzocchi forks upside down. I have to mention that it has double exhaust at the rear. You can see on the left and on the right side, going from 2 to 1 and then again to 2. So with a very stylish, and I have to mention, soft seat, guys, and huge fuel tank. I mean, that time it was something usual, but nowadays having 21 liters of fuel tank, it's luxury. I have to mention it. So in this case it was also liquid cooled, and this is really not by any means cheap for a motorcycle that has 650cc engine, and that is a single cylinder. So Aprilia really did a great job installing such components on this one. What I have to mention, guys, here, it's also that this one is equipped with a very nice dash, and here you can see on the left it's the tacho and the speedo, and here down on the left you have the indicators, turning signal indicators, neutral indicator, fuel reserve indicator, lights. Here is the temperature of the water coolant, and this one was a very cool motorcycle. What was very special of this one, it's the fact that it had 5 radial valves. So single cylinder and 5 radial valves, producing 50 horsepower at 7,000 revs, and having the peak torque at 6,500 revs, and this is 59 Newton meters. So quite a punchy engine, I have to say, and a very Italian style look from the end of the 90s. So I really liked it that time, and I also like it now. So a large handlebar, very let's say standard, but still in a way very useful mirrors, and a stylish windshield. Let's see some details, guys. So 19-inch at the front, 17-inch at the rear, single disc at the front, single disc at the rear, 2 piston calipers, and 1 piston caliper at the rear. So this was a pretty common configuration that time. The thing that was a bit outstanding for this price tag, and in, let's say, overall circumstances that time, it was that This one had Marzocchi forks. Marzocchi, it's known that it's a quite expensive brand. Upside down forks, so not a telescopic forks, as you can see, upside down, and having 5 valves. It was a bit of a revolution, let's say. Here you can see, guys, this is still a carburetor motorcycle, and here we can see you have the switch from off to on. This is a fuel switch to open the fuel on this one, and here we have the very common thing on such bikes. This is choke. So when it's cold, you just pull it a bit and start the motorcycle. The turning circle, guys, it's wonderful. Look, so these enduro bikes had great turning circles, in my opinion. The riding position, it's a comfortable one for somebody my height, so 6'1", 185 centimeters tall, and I still have some space left when I'm sitting on the bike, and I think that also if you are 6'2", you will still be comfortable on this bike. So the seat, it's very soft, I have to mention it, and very large. So sitting on this bike, it's a pure pleasure. I have to say that right now I am more than 1 hour riding, and the seat is just very good. About the ride overall, this is a nimble bike. It is a light bike, in my opinion. I cannot feel the weight. It is under 200 kilos, and this is just a good thing. So when pushing it a bit in the corners, you just have a feel that you could go even more. You would be able to lean even more. So it is a confidence inspiring bike, in my opinion. About the brakes, I would rate them as let's say average, not too powerful, not too soft, not too spongy, nothing, just average. But this is not a super sport bike. This is a pure enduro or adventure bike, and they just serve the purpose, in my opinion. About the engine is not among the most powerful ones, but in the 1998 it was a cool one, having 50 horsepower, was just quite a lot, I would say, and even nowadays it is appropriate for the road riding, and it may struggle a bit to up riding, but otherwise you just downshift and you can easily overtake with this one. Why I love this engine so much? Because it just has great curing capabilities. So in the twisties, guys, it goes very nicely. You just have to be aware that you have a 19-inch at the front, and that you should have great tires for pushing it in the twisties. The gearbox, it's not among the quickest, and you have to push a bit and put a bit more force when you are upshifting. So this is not really a downside, but just to mention it. The handlebar, it's wide, you have a proper feel of an adventure bike, and also the mirrors. The mirrors are not so cool looking, but I think that these were also mounted on older V-Stroms, and I have to say that I see everything. The fuel tank, guys, the fuel tank, it's a wonderful one because it has 21 liters of capacity, and this is nowadays really something that it's rare, I would say. About the consumption, so I cannot say that this is a very economical bike, but also not a very thirsty one. So it is from the end of the 90s, and it is a carburetor bike, so 6 liters per 100 kilometers would be the appropriate number, I can say. About the screen, it's a fancy one, it's a dark one in this case. It's let's say not too high, but it's doing a great job, because till 120 there is no buffeting, no particular buffeting. I still feel a bit of wind on my helmet, but this is a no deal breaker in my opinion. So a good screen, I would say. Being a single cylinder, guys, means that it has vibes. About the suspension, guys, I feel that it is just right, so not too hard, not too soft, and the front is not diving too much, even though this is an adventure bike. So quite good suspension, I would say. And riding it off-road, guys, I also tried it a bit off-road. This is not a pure off-road bike. It has a front 19-inch wheel, and you can go, you can leave the tarmac and you can go riding it some off-road. Let's do the 3 pros and 3 cons. So the first pro, it's the riding position. The riding position, it's a very upright one and a comfortable one, considering the fact that the seat is just soft and very comfortable. The second pro, it's the engine that has enough power. Being a 50 horsepower 650cc engine, it's just right for this bike. And the third pro, it's the ride, overall ride. This is a light bike, and it just rides very, very easily. So if you are a new rider, if you are a beginner, you can start with this one. So you will quickly get used to it. 3 cons, guys. The first con, it's about the vibes. So this bike has vibes. You can get used to it. They are not particularly intrusive till 100 kilometers per hour. But if you are planning to go on some longer trips, then you should consider that you should, let's say, ride under, or let's say at max 100-110 kilometers per hour. The second con, it's about the brakes. Brakes are just average, and you have a single disc at the front and a single disc at the rear. So there you cannot expect miracles, just average brakes in my opinion. Could be better. The third con, it's about the styling of the mirrors, guys. I would change them, because they are, let's say, pretty ugly. Even for being from the 90s, they just nailed the styling of this bike, but mirrors are, let's say, very, very functional and good, but ugly. So I would go for some aftermarket ones. This was all, guys. This was Aprilia Pegaso 650 from 1998. This is a pure old school enduro motorcycle. It is gonna be a vintage motorcycle soon. I enjoyed the ride. I hope that you enjoyed too. And please do me a favor and subscribe. And till the next one, thanks for watching.